This is day 116 of Zohar Pshat, and we're at Akdamas Zohar Daf Yudal on Beis. We're still in the 14th commandment of Einik Shabbos, what we call Einik Shabbos, what the Zohar called. I believe it was not to Yom Shabbos, and we talked about how Einik Shabbos suppresses, so to speak, the potential for misuse of the goof of the chomer. And on Yudal Nama base, it says that what happens to the spirit of evil on Shabbos, or the Ruchin Roin. So the second line. So the Asla, the second line, is that the Sitra Achra goes, delay, and it's Shabbos seems that it goes and flits around with several of its strengths and its sides. Fascinating. It goes around and finds all those who have relations the night of Shabbos, marital relations, in the open. By the light of candlelight. Now, it's interesting that here it sounds like the issue is specifically where the man and woman have relations undressed by the light of the candle. But the Tzutz points out that according to one of Pesachim, the issue is Lor Haner and Lav Dafka B'Gluei de Gufeyon. Not specifically with their bodies uncovered, but just having Tashmish Lor Haner. Now, what's the problem with Tashmish Lor Haner? So obviously the lack of tznius to a certain extent, but it's more, Chazal say that it's an issue of V'haftarecha kamocha. In other words, that perhaps if there be Tashmish Lor Haner with a bright light shining on the two people involved, so then one will see something which they find repugnant or disgusting the other person, so therefore not supposed to do this by the light of the candle, in order that the darkness conceals whatever shortcomings there are. So somebody who evidently does Tashmish or Haner, they are not concerned with the other person, and they're not concerned with seeing something negative about another person. That, even on Shabbos, is a problem. Right, that's there are limits to how much you can eradicate issues which have to do with chomrius and the goof, and one of the limits is when it has to do with other people. Then that's a problem. And then according to this is also Gemara, any child who's born of that union, havu nichbin, they become epileptic. Okay, so for our purposes, we don't have to take this literally, of course, but it's in Kabbalah there's an assumption that any deficit in the conception of a child has a ramification for the child itself. And the Sharlai Ruchin Mahus Sitra Achra. They are Ruchin from the other side, which do take hold in such a situation where, again, there's violation of Avtarecha Kamocha. V'inun Ruchin Artiloin, the Chayavaya. And these spirits which take hold of the child in conception and have a negative impact on it are the spirits, the naked spirits of the wicked people. And there's a Dikru Mazikin, which are called Mazikin. And there's a long Derech Emes here who has various different interpretations of what it possibly means. He says, Ruchos Arumos Shel Rishoyim, the naked spirits of Rishoyim, She'elim B'Mayli Slavish, who have nothing in which to clothe themselves in Shotus Ba'olam, and they go through the world of Tameh B'ni Adam, to defile people B'shich Vazera with emissions. Shegorim She'adam who row a carry, they cause that person to see carry, which is not mentioned here in the whole Zohar. V'hainu De'akrun, and that's the language of De'akrun Mazikin. Lashon of Keri. Not that they're called Mazikin, but they are Keri Mazikin. They are Keri. They have a person see Keri. They are the ruchos of Rishoyim who saw Keri during their entire lifetime. V'lo chazaru b'tshuva, they did not do tshuva. I don't know if we have to come on to all that for our purposes here. It means that there is in this there is a spirit of tumah which affects even on Shabbos people who are not concerned with their fellow human beings, especially in an act of great intimacy and great sanctity. V'shayis bu lilis, and the lilis was obviously one of the negative spirits. Devolves there, v'ktilis lone, and kills them. So again, I don't think this to be taken at all literally. It means that there is this this entire act, which is done inappropriately, can be pervaded with a ruach hatuma even on Shabbos. It came in the Scottish Yoima, B'shat Rusha al Alma, but going back to what happens under normal circumstances, once the Shabbos begins and Kedusha devolves in the world, Haru Sitra Achra as Iris Garma, the other side diminishes itself. But Atmis Koleh, the Shabbos has to go into hiding, all of the night of Shabbos and all of the day of Shabbos. But here we have two dots, but there's a fascinating continuation. After two dots, Barmin Asimon, except for the spirit called Asimon. Now, Asimon, for anybody living in Israel, means of a certain age, it means a telephone token. But in I'd always say that the malfunctioning telephones at the time, then the use of tokens were affected by Ruchin Vililin. But Asimon in Chazal means an undifferentiated slug. It's a coin which has no imprint. Just a slug. When we in the Shalvim, they used to use for the laundry is Asimone Kvisa. Slugs, which used to put in the machine in lieu of coins. Used to buy the slugs and put the slugs in. So a slug is an undifferentiated ruach. It's something which doesn't have a specific imprint. And specific, I think that what we're going to see is that specific ruchos of Tumah on Shabbos are suppressed. But just like that person who violates V'havtarecha kamocha can bring down a ruach of Tumah, so too there is this, has to be the ruach of Tumah to come down, there is this undifferentiated, undefined possibility, even on Shabbos, of course, of doing something bad, doing something evil, and bringing evil down to the world. So the overt Keichos HaTumah, the ones which are specific and defined on Shabbos, they don't have control. As saying in the Smiras for Shabbos, the Bar not lean below Ali and Hani Kalbin the Chatzifin. Right, all those brazen dogs who are specific, they're not there. But there's always a potential for evil in the world. There's always potential for Aveira. So there's potential for Ra. Asimon is always there. The Kolkas delay. And all its group. The Azil Asragi B'Tmiru. They go on the candles in hiding. Okay, what this means, we have to leave for next time, but the fascinating thing that there is, the Asimonim are related to the candles somehow, and they're able to overcome the candles. Candles are light, so in darkness which exists even in the presence of light, and that, of course, is darkness which can exist even on Shabbos.